And then secondly, the president invited his son Hunter to the state dinner last night. I'm wondering if you could take us into the thinking and decision-making of why the president decided to invite
I'm just not going to get into family discussion, personal family discussion. As you know, Hunter is his son. I'm just not going to get into it.
Let me ask you this. If Hunter Biden wasn't the president's son, would he have invited someone who had just reached a plea agreement with federal prosecutors 2 days earlier?
A couple of things. Again, that's his son. He's a family member. It is not uncommon for family members to attend events at the White House. You could look at past presidents. I'm sure you have. So that is not uncommon. As it relates to anything related to Hunter, I'm just not going to respond to it from here.
Can I follow up on that?
No, I just called in somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us.
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here.
Text message.
I will. What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share.
In the shakedown attempt?
I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
No, you didn't. Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
Can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel so we have it from you at the podium?
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement with all of you.
My question is about your statements from that podium. You've stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Counsel.
This is not a change?
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question. Go ahead.
Go ahead. The president was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, have you spoken to the president about this? Have you asked him whether he was there with his son on July 30th?
This is not a conversation that I've had with the president. Again, I would refer you to the White House Counsel.
Do you plan to have that conversation with the president?
No.
Did the president speak with the attorney general at all last night at the state dinner?
I cannot say if the president had had a conversation with the attorney general last night. What I can refer you to is the White House Counsel's office as it relates to the allegations. They've already addressed this. This is something for them to deal with. I refer you to the Department of Justice on anything else if you don't want to speak to the White House Counsel's office.
And there was reporting earlier in the week that after the plea agreement was reached by Hunter Biden, that the president felt relieved that that part of it was behind him. Is that true? Can you speak
I can't
to his
speak to that.
mindset?
I cannot speak to the president's mindset. Again, I would refer you to the White House Counsel's office. Get it.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Back to India, if we could. So India is on a U.S. priority watch list with China and Russia for failing to protect intellectual property. With this push to get American businesses to move into India more and invest in India, what assurances did you get from Prime Minister Modi that India will protect intellectual property?
So look, as two countries and leaders who are certainly leading in innovation and technology, the United States and India have a strong and shared interest in protecting intellectual property and a shared technology ecosystem. So protecting IP, intellectual property, along with expanding market opportunities for U.S. firms in India, welcoming major Indian investments in the United States, and diversifying our supply chains were all topics of discussion on this historic official visit. And so I'll leave it there. But again, they are both leaders in innovation and technology, so certainly they have shared interest.
So on inflation, quickly, does the president still believe companies are causing inflation?
So look, as you know, the president, when it comes, I just went to laid it down for Jeremy about how important it is for this president to deal with inflation. We've seen inflation go down by more than 50% in the last 12 months, and we think that's incredibly important. And so the way that we're going to continue to do the work of making sure that we lower, whether it's lowering costs for Americans at the pump. But to your question, and other things, right, whether it's healthcare or energy costs. But during the pandemic, as you know, we saw profit margins increase to historic high levels, and we expect that as profit margins fall to more historically normal levels, inflation should moderate further as well. And so the president said this in his Wall Street op-ed, and I'll quote him: "As supply chains continue to unsnarl, company profits margins fall from historically high levels, and rents continue to moderate, inflation should decline further, creating more breathing room for working families."
So did the president confront the CEOs here today about that?
I'm not going to get into private conversations that the president has had, but I just laid out how we see the future as it relates to profit margins, and I'll just leave it there. I'll take one more question. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, Curry, thanks so much. I wanted to ask you if there is video of the president signing this executive order today, because we were wondering.
I believe there was digital content taken from the president signing this order, and so we'll probably be releasing that. I don't have anything else from that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.
The Attorney General committed perjury by testifying to Congress that